Well, good afternoon to all and welcome on this usual November day in the city of Indianapolis. Sunny, 60 degrees, beautiful. It's an honor to be with you today, all of you, but particularly it's an honor to be with my friend and my colleague who serves admirably on the City County Council, Councilor Vop Osili, and Doug Day with Destination Fall Creek, both of whom you will hear from in just a moment. And I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge at the very outset we wouldn't be cutting this ribbon today if it weren't for the great work of the City of Indianapolis's Department of Public Works, led by Dan Parker, but also in attendance today are many DPW stalwarts. So I'd like to once again thank you, DPW, for all that you do to improve the quality of life and the quality of place for our city. For 7 months, not all, but many of the citizens of Indianapolis have been asking, when will the Capitol Avenue Bridge be reopened? Well, I'm told as of 3 o'clock this afternoon, traffic will once again be going north to south on this important thoroughfare in our city, and that is cause for celebration. Indeed, thanks to the $1.7 million for construction, or I should say reconstruction, of our bridge, 80% of which is provided for by the federal government. The rest is our contribution, along with added costs for other appropriate expenditures. It's a total $2.2 million redo that we reopen this afternoon. And the guidance and the expertise of DPW has been brought to bear so that this bridge will once again be available this afternoon and tomorrow morning to our community's motorists, our community's cyclists, to our community's pedestrians. Now, you may have noticed, some ongoing work will continue underneath the bridge, as quite a bit of upkeep is required for a bridge built more than a century ago. Think about that. This bridge was built in 1911, 106 years ago. But traffic will once again flow like the creek below us for more than 17,000 residents who use this bridge daily. 17,000 people, again, will have access to this bridge tomorrow morning, which also means that there will be 17,000 fewer people crossing the Meridian Street Bridge. So, for those who commute north to south or south to north, this is an important day. And it's only one part of a comprehensive infrastructure plan and work as part of it that's been completed across the city, as we've had more than $50 million invested in Indianapolis's infrastructure this year alone. And yes, more work remains to be done throughout Indianapolis. But as has been demonstrated in a few moments by this ribbon cutting today, Indianapolis promises to always cross those bridges when they come. Thank you very much, and I'm pleased to, at this time, introduce my friend and my colleague, the Director of the Department of Public Works, Dan Parker. Dan? Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What the mayor neglected to say was that he was one of those folks who was asking for the last 7 months when this bridge would open.
That is true.
As the mayor said, this bridge is 100 years old, and today it opens with a new life to last another 100 years. The Capitol Bridge over Fall Creek is historic, and its historic design has been preserved. Commuters, pedestrians, and bicyclists will notice not only the smooth pavement, but also new sidewalks and railings. The superstructure of this bridge is replaced and will last for generations. As the mayor said, I'd like to take this moment to thank our engineering team, represented here today by our Deputy Director and Chief Engineer, Melody Park, Mark Zoyer, David Borden. Thank you so much for all the work you put into this effort. I'd also like to thank Anna Gremling and the Indianapolis Metropolitan Planning Organization for providing the federal funding to reconstruct this bridge. And just because it's getting a little colder and winter's right around the corner, DPW continues to work on projects until Mother Nature basically tells us to stop. Just a couple of blocks from here, the work to rehabilitate another historic bridge continues, the Central Avenue Bridge over Fall Creek, which will open, fingers crossed, next fall. Our team is finishing up resurfacing projects and is already planning on our 2018 construction season. Next year, DPW will be able to spend more on bridges and streets. We'll dedicate $87 million to our roads and sidewalks. $22 million of our 2018 budget will be earmarked for bridge repair. We know that construction can be inconvenient at times, but the payoff is worth the wait. As we continue to build our city's infrastructure, I'd like to introduce someone who is a key partner in that effort. Councilor Osley not only represents the area where we reopened this bridge, but he also serves on the Public Works Committee of the City County Council, where he works hand in hand with DPW day in and day out to help rebuild Indianapolis's infrastructure. Ladies and gentlemen, Councilor Osley.
Afternoon, everyone. This is an amazing day to be out here. Sunny, somewhat warm, and just a great opportunity to say thank you to a number of individuals who have made this possible. These last few months have been a great inconvenience to thousands of individuals who have depended on this on this bridge and on this street to get downtown. But as the director had mentioned just a moment ago, it's that temporary inconvenience for those few months that produces a fruit that will last for decades. And as I understand it, over the course of these next 40, 50 years, this bridge is going to be as it is. That it can last with some little repaving here and there. But the infrastructure will last for decades. So the little inconvenience that we've all suffered, I think, pales in comparison to what we see, in our future. So I want to thank our mayor for the vision that he has for our city and for continuing to push. I want to thank our director of DPW and the staff who take phone calls from irate citizens and irate councilors when they get their calls from their irate constituents. But they have worked hard to make it possible, and we end up now with something that will, as I said, will last for decades. And we're all grateful. I'm grateful as a councilor, and I know that the constituents who depend on this are also incredibly grateful. We have one with us right now who has made it his vision to reactivate our river. One of those who speaks very loudly. One of those constituents who makes those calls to me, who I then make the call to DPW, and you know how the chain it goes forward. But I wanted to make sure that I introduce a fellow, Doug Day, who represents Destination Fall Creek and is one of those citizens who is actively engaged in the beautification of our city and the reactivation of so many of our resources. So without further ado, Mr. Day.
Good afternoon. My name is Doug Day, and I've lived here for 13 years. And I am just a neighbor. I have no official power. I have no official responsibility. And it has been amazing how, if you have a vision, Destination Fall Creek, transforming Fall Creek into a recreational, residential, and commercial destination with access to art, nature, and beauty for every citizen every day. It has amazed me how, when you approach city people all the way up and down, an unmentioned name so far is the guy I call the Doctor of Bridges, Bill Chappelle, whose bridge you are looking at now, and it is a beautiful bridge. And so when I call Bill, he responds. I mean, he wants to hear from citizens, and that's just really, really cool. And Indianapolis deserves a lot of credit for allowing ordinary citizens to have such influence as that. Somewhere along Destination Fall Creek, we now have about $90 million worth of projects going on. There hasn't been this kind of volume or effort since the Murat, a couple of blocks that way, was built. And as a trivia question, I would ask you when that was built. It was built in 1926. So we have a lot going on. So all of a sudden it occurred to us, gee, maybe our left hand and our right hand should talk to each other. Maybe we should have coordination meetings between DPW, for example, and Citizens Energy. Citizens Energy, we have a combined sewer overflow issue in Center Township where when it rains, sewage, raw sewage, is dumped into the creek. Well, we're fixing that. And they needed to build a diversion at 28th and Capitol. But they don't need it for another 4 or 5 years. So I thought, well, gee, if we're going to close Capitol, let's close 28th Street or 28th and Capitol at the same time and redo both. That's about a 6-month project that requires that you close the intersection. So we did. It's just a few days. If you go up there right now, they're putting the top coat of asphalt on. We're just a few days from reopening that. And what a neat story. You can coordinate, and all of a sudden the CEG people are willing to spend $1 million, over $1 million, 4 years early for the convenience of our mayor, who will drive through that intersection. So anyway, what a great city. What a great city where ordinary citizens can have such an impact. And I would encourage everybody to develop a positive attitude, a positive vision, a mission statement, a plan, something you have passion for, and go for it. Because in this city, your voice will be heard. And that's the definition of a great city. Thank you very much.
1, 2, 3. All right. Congratulations. Congratulations.